This week, the readings teach us about being preachers of the gospel and receivers of the gospel. We know we are preachers of the gospel by virtue of our baptism. And in fact, Jesus' last words to his apostles, and by extension the whole church, were, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations." That comes from Matthew chapter 28, verse 19. So it is not only appropriate for us to be preachers, but it is essential. In the readings, we see three examples of prophets who were not always successful in bringing all those that they encountered closer to God. Ezekiel preached to a people who did not want to listen. St. Paul was persecuted, beaten, and even ran out of cities. And Jesus, who was the Son of God, was rejected by his home village. And yet, we know Jesus was perfect, and Ezekiel and St. Paul were two of the greatest teachers that the faith has ever seen. So what does this all teach us? Success in preaching the gospel is not dependent on the number of people who then follow you. The key is faithfulness to God. We preach the gospel in response to the gifts and the love God has given us. And that love we have for God is so great that it spills out to others. As preachers of the gospel, this must be our primary concern, to please God and to glorify Him. As receivers of the gospel, it is essential for us to be open to the love of God. In the gospel, it says that Jesus was not able to work many miracles in that area. Now, this was not because of anything that was lacking of Jesus, but it was because of the lack of openness of the people. We need to ask ourselves how we can always be open to the love of God. The key to being a faithful preacher and a faithful receiver is humility. This week, let us ask Our Lady to teach us her perfect humility so that we can become more faithful preachers of the gospel and more faithful receivers of the gospel.